Okay, and we're off.
Okay, good afternoon. And a very warm welcome to the latest Bees webinar. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jonathan Howell and I work as an energy advisor at Coventry City Council, and I help deliver the programme across the Coventry and Warwickshire areas. And really today's webinar is a bit of a call to action really. It's designed to give you all some background to what the Bees programme can give your business, but also due to timescales to encourage you, if you are interested, to sign up as soon as possible, because as I'll explain a bit later on in the session, the program does close soon. We're here to help you as a business, and we want to make sure that if you can, you engage in time to let us give you the support that you're looking for, basically. So let's just crack on with a few house rules first of all, as you'd expect on any webinar. If you have the next slide, please, Carrie. So first of all, as you'd expect, if you just put yourselves on mute, just cuts down that background noise. What I'm planning to do is have a little Q&A session at the end of the session. So you can either save your question till then or pop it in the chat, and then I'll come to it after myself and our guest speaker has spoken. The meeting is recorded and we will share the slides of the meeting and also the recording following the session as well. So you can jump back in and view it later on at your leisure, basically. Next slide, please. So just the agenda, we're looking to, as I said, make it bite-sized, so it shouldn't take more than half an hour. So first of all, I'll give you an introduction to what the Bees program is, what it will give you as a business, and I'll quickly walk you through the process, the eligibility requirements, how it works, what the energy report will give you, and then how to apply for the grant funding. And then I'll hand over to a really good case study, actually a local case study to us, which will show you what I'm talking about in real terms. So it's actually a nice example of a customer, or a business rather, that's accessed the program, had some grant funding, and he will go through the benefits of the program to you all as best he can. And then we'll have that Q&A session towards the end, as I said, and we'll hope to wrap up by 1 o'clock. Next slide, please, Carrie. Okay, a bit about me, very quickly. As you can see, I've been at Coventry City Council since 2021, so nearly 5 years, and I've helped nearly 300 businesses now reduce their carbon footprint and energy expenditure. So this is what I do day in, day out, basically. I do the energy auditing bit, and I also help oversee the grant allocation. So hopefully I can give you a really good overview of benefits of the programme and how to access it moving forward. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so Bees, for those that don't know, we love our acronyms throughout local authority. It stands for Business Energy Advice Service, basically, and it is funded by the UK government, and it is for SME businesses throughout pretty much most of the Midlands area. So the West Midlands Combined Authority, Staffordshire, Warwickshire, Worcestershire, and the Marches. And essentially, the fundamental objective of the programme is to help you as a business reduce your energy consumption and costs. That is the primary driver of the programme, basically. So it's guiding you on how to get those actual costs down, because we know it's difficult out there at the moment with your operational costs and so on. And the way we do that is twofold. We first of all give you a free energy audit. So we'll give you guidance on how to reduce your energy consumption. And then we also have some grants available to help support the measures that we recommend to you, which I will come to a little bit later on. Now, the key thing to mention here, and this is why we put this out as a bit of a call to action, the programme does end very soon. It ends in March 2026. So we can support you 100% availability on energy audits. We're here ready to help. The grant bit is subject to availability, and that's because of two reasons. One, some areas that I've mentioned are oversubscribed for grant availability. They might not have any money left in their grant pot. And secondly, for those areas that do have money available, there is quite a narrow timescale to get the process done and get you to apply for the grant and then claim the grant. As I said, we've got less than 2 months to do. I'll explain that a bit later on, but that is two things to bear in mind. So critically, energy audit, not a problem at all. We're here to help you. The grant is subject to availability and further discussion, basically. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so just to go through the eligibility, because there are some eligibility restrictions here, you must be classified as an SME. And also you must have an energy consumption of over 25,000 kilowatt hours per year. You must also be responsible for paying the business's energy bills, because it's designed to help you as a business reduce your bills. You must be a commercial entity or a profit-seeking organisation. You must have operated from your premises for at least 12 months, and it doesn't cover residential properties. You must be officially registered or active for at least 12 months as well, and you must own the building or have a minimum 3-year lease. Now, all of those bullet points are on our website, which I'll point you out later on. We have a QR code you can go to, and it lists them on our website as well. So just make sure that you meet those criteria. Most businesses that we deal with do. So if you meet those criteria, jump on the website and register, and we can get involved and help you pretty much straight away. Next slide, please, Carrie. Okay, so once you've registered, check your eligibility and registered, we would then come out to site, or me or one of my colleagues would come out to site, and we do the energy audit. This is the guidance bit to help identify things on your site that are inefficient. And we look at basically fabric improvements, and we also look at process and machinery improvements. So anything that we can spot on site that's inefficient, we will give you guidance on what it would cost to upgrade the thing in question, but more importantly, what it would save you in your energy bills per year moving forward. Also, what the carbon savings would be, and therefore we can then start to work out the payback periods for you. So as an example here with this table on the right hand side, I went to this business about 18 months ago to 2 years ago, and I identified, as you can see, a number of things that would make improvements on site. The top one, as you can see, was increasing their or upgrading their double glazed windows. That would have been a cost of £3,000 with an annual saving of £845. The same, as you can see, with the roller shutter doors, for example, that was a £30,000 investment, but making a considerable saving of nearly £10,000 a year, and so on and so forth. So we will give you more narrative at the back of this, but this is a summary of what we try and identify on site for you. And there's key things. The reason for that is to give you as a business owner the ability to identify which ones are worth prioritizing and which ones maybe can wait a little bit longer on. So for example, if I was a CEO of a business and looking to make immediate improvements, I'd perhaps look at the roof insulation and the roller shutter doors as a priority, because they're a quicker payback period. Alternatively, if my focus was maybe on carbon saving, because some companies now need to make considerable carbon savings due to their supply chain or their tender processes, I perhaps focus on the things that gave the most carbon savings basically moving forward. So it's designed to identify and give you guidance on how you can make improvements on site basically. So we give you a full breakdown, we give you more narrative around all of those recommendations as well within the report. You can then go out and get quotes for the things that you're looking for support on, for grant support. You can choose your own supplier that you want to do the work, and you can then look to apply for the grant basically. So that's a nice snapshot of how the actual audit works basically. Next slide, please, Gary. Typically, as you've obviously seen on the previous table, typical things that we've funded over the years and provide guidance on. LED lighting has always been a big one. If you've got those old fluorescent tubes on site, we can give you funding towards LED lighting. Secondary insulation, such as cavity wall or cladding or double glazed windows is a big one. Solar PV is massive at the moment. We've done lots of funding and lots of guidance for solar PV installations alongside battery storage. We will also look at your heating in great detail as well. We can either give you more efficient or guide you on more efficient gas boilers and heating, or we can look to decarbonise and give you guidance on that and move you away from that gas heating onto heat pumps, HVAC, aircon, that kind of technology as well. So we can give you nice guidance on that. We'll also look at your machinery. If you're a manufacturing company, you might have some machinery on site that could be upgraded. compressors are a big one, CNC machines and those kind of things as well. And also things like building management systems, anything that can kind of reduce your energy footprint, we can also give you guidance on that moving forward as well. So there's a lot of things we can guide on. Every site obviously is different, but that's a nice little snapshot of the kind of things that we can provide support on. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll run through the process on the next slide, but essentially to access the funding, you need to have engaged with us, had us on site, we do the energy report for you, you then go out and get some quotes for the work you're looking to do, and then you apply for the grant basically. Now, a couple of key points on that. It must be capital purchase only to qualify for the grant. You can't lease or put the items on hire purchase. The grants are really good under this program. The grant allocation is up to 50% towards what you're looking to do. So that's the best I've seen in my time here. So it's a nice intervention level for you. Once the grant has been applied for and approved, you can then carry out the work. You then pay your supplier once it's completed, and you then claim back the 50% grant from ourselves or your relevant local authority. So just a key point on that, you don't get the money up front, you get the money when you've spent the money that your capital project costs. We will give you the money within 10 to 15 working days once it's all been completed, basically. Now, again, just looping back to my previous comment a few slides ago, the program does end very, very soon. So if your area does still have some grant funding available, and where I work, Coventry, we do have some money available, you just need to be conscious of those timescales, because we have to get to site, do the reporting bit for you, identify your supplier, apply for the grant, and get the work done by March 2026 to make sure you get your grant money. So we're here to help you, and obviously every application is a case-by-case basis, but just be aware of those timescale limitations, basically. Okay, next slide, please. So this tries to just outline the general process to make it a bit more simplistic for you. So first thing, if it is of interest, complete the registration form on Business Growth West Midlands website. There's a QR code later on I'll share with you for that. We check out your availability based on those criteria that I outlined in a previous slide. We'll reach out to you and we'll get on site as soon as we can to do that audit, basically, and we'll give you the benefit of our expertise and provide you with that free energy report showing where you can make some savings. If there's money available and timescales are right, then of course we can take you through to grant application stage. But obviously what I would stress here is our time here is free. At the very least, I'd recommend, if you can, take advantage of the free energy audit. We're here to help you, and we're here to show you where you can save some money moving forward, basically. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense. If anyone's got any queries, drop your query into the chat and I can address it at the end of the session. But in order to probably make that a bit more viable, I'd like to hand over to someone we know very well at Coventry City Council. I'd like to hand you over to Matthew from Sam Leisure, who'll just talk you through his experience of accessing the BEES programme, what he did and what money he got from our programme moving forward. So over to you, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jonathan. And look, really nice to be speaking to everyone on the call today on the webinar. I'm a huge fan of the BEES programme. I think I need to start off by saying that and I'll give you a background to who I am and who Sam Leisure are, but effectively, we're a small business based in Coventry, so based in Charter Avenue Industrial Estate. We've got a 10,000 square foot facility, and we are one of the UK's main providers of pool and leisure equipment into the likes of the major leisure chains and venues that exist. So the likes of Tenpin, Hollywood Bowl. You might have heard of us. We sponsor some of the local football club and also the local ice hockey team. So we're trying to be prominent in the city. But one of the things that I've always been really, really keen to do is to become more energy efficient. And we've never had grant funding before. I didn't really understand how you could get grant funding. I didn't really know how it would work, but I came across Jonathan and his team back in December 2024, and I was really interested to learn more about the BEES programme. And that opportunity really came about because we purchased the freehold to the site that we now own in 2023. So we had long-term security. We wanted to invest. We wanted to become more energy efficient. And actually, um, some of our companies that we work with were asking us for our carbon footprint. They're asking us for evidence that we are becoming more energy efficient now, green credentials. So perfect opportunity. There was an email that landed in my inbox back in December 2024, and I jumped onto a call with Jonathan, and I was surprised at how straightforward the process was. And from I think it was within a matter of 2 weeks, Jonathan, you were out on site in January 2025 conducting the energy audit. It was a super, super fast turnaround. So, I was always so impressed by how responsive and reactive you and the team were, which was amazing. And the next slide actually just goes into a little bit more detail on our energy audit, which I'll cover off. So thinking back 12 months ago, we had actually a number of areas I wanted to look at. We had no LED lighting. So Jonathan, you mentioned earlier, those old halogen bulbs, across our office, showroom and warehouse, we were using the old bulbs. And I look back now at how dark the place was, but also how much energy we were wasting. That was one of the first areas we really, really wanted to target. And you can see the payback time was only 3 years on that. So again, we reached out to a variety of suppliers, and again, based on the quality of the product and the cost of the product, we chose a supplier that would work with us to redo our LED lighting. We focused in on other areas such as actually the ability to have a solar array. In terms of our business, we're quite lucky that we have a south-facing roof, but that's not necessarily a requirement. We were able to angle the panels at the right level and really generate some fantastic payback from those solar panels to make us effectively carbon neutral on our electricity production side, which was incredible. So that was a significant cost of outlay, but actually, again, with the grant funding, that was something that then became economically viable for us to pursue. We looked at other things like the rapid closure shutter doors to our warehouse. I'm not sure if anyone knows, but those old steel shutter doors that we used to have, used to have to manually pull them up and close them, very, very inefficient. They were leaking heat, but also our team would often leave them up even when it was cold because they were quite a pain to pull up and pull down all the time. So one of the areas that we focused on quite quickly was the shutter doors. And again, also the rear doors. We had a couple of doors that were actually just, again, leaking hot air into the outside space. So again, it's fairly simple things like doors. It was surprising how much heat we were losing. So we looked at all of these savings and realized actually we wanted to invest. We felt we were able to invest with the grant funding that was able to be put in place through the program. And I was really, really pleased that actually on the next slide, we managed to make some significant savings. So at the moment, we're 12 months in, but we're saving in excess of £10,000 per year in our energy bills, which is it's really significant for an SME. That is literally money that we were wasting. We were inefficient, and we were not helping our carbon footprint. I'm really pleased to say that the carbon savings we're generating are significant, and you can see those on the slide here. The payback time with the grant funding, 5 years of payback, that was something we were absolutely comfortable with. So commercially, this made sense, but it made sense environmentally. There's so many suppliers now that ask us, and our customers that ask us for our credentials. We're really proud, and we've made quite a big song and dance over the fact that we are carbon neutral at our HQ now with the interventions that we've made, and we are really, really proud of that. But it wouldn't have been possible without Jonathan and the Bees program. So, I'm very grateful for their help. I just wanted to bring it to life for you over the next 2 slides. So the next slide just shows you the before. You could see actually, we made some significant interventions. We had, no real proper lighting. We were very, very inefficient with how we worked. And, actually, the fact that we had no solar array, the fact that we had no real fast closing shutter door, we were just losing money, like I say. And the next slide shows you how we are today. We've refurbished the site at the same time as adding in the energy efficiency aspects. You can see the solar array on the right hand side. We're a different setup. We are much more efficient. We are much more eco-friendly, and it just makes sense from a bottom line perspective. So, I can only speak really, really highly of the Bees program. I would just say to anyone out there in Coventry and the wider area, look, this program won't stay open forever. The funding is there. The Jonathan and his team work incredibly quickly to turn things around, but the first step is you reaching out, is you messaging, is you having that conversation and that energy audit. And it makes sense for the environment, it makes sense commercially. So I just encourage anyone out there to really, just jump in, speak with Jonathan and the team, see the amazing work that they do. And the process isn't complex. Like I say, I've never had grant funding before. I found it surprisingly straightforward, surprisingly easy, and the turnaround times were fantastic. So yeah, I would really encourage everyone to see what's available for you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rob. Firstly, thank you for your kind words, and thanks for talking us through the work you've had done so far. So I've actually worked out. I think the grant we gave you, Matthew, was over 21,000. I think in total, wasn't it? I think we gave you full 50% for everything. So
it was.
As you can see, everybody, it's really worthwhile doing for the benefits that Matthew's outlined. So thank you. Thanks for your kind words, and thanks for your presentation. I'd like to go to questions. Now, I can't see any questions in the chat as of yet. So if anyone out there on the audience has anything they'd like to ask, please drop it in the chat, or even go old school, put your hand up if you like, and we can jump to you. If not, Matthew, you're not going to escape. I have got some stock questions for you just to open things up a little bit further, but I'll just give it 1 minute to see if anybody puts anything in the chat. If not, I shall come to you myself. Okay, no, that's fine. I understand if you're there just listening, that's absolutely fine. So I was interested on two things, Matthew, if that's okay. First of all, you've mentioned quite clearly about the benefits of the carbon reduction, because we all talk cost. We talk cost, and the commercial side is key. Have you noticed a spike in interest, maybe for business due to your improved environmental credentials, or have you promoted that element out there at all to your sort of audience? I'm just sort of keen to see whether there's been that soft benefit of being greener in terms of getting more business in, basically.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a good question. And look, there absolutely has been a benefit of the credentials. And I say that, I'm really conscious as a supplier of wood products, right? We sell pool tables, we sell snooker cues and pool cues, right? We do have an environmental footprint, and I've always been really, really conscious of that. So actually, increasingly, we are being asked exactly that. Some of the processes we go through now, businesses are becoming more formalized. You find, you've got RFPs that you need to respond to, and you need to show and demonstrate why you're different. Yes. And actually, this is something we're finding more and more. So we have promoted our credentials, we have mailed out to our existing customers, but we're finding for the larger customers in particular, they need to satisfy their own execs and their own shareholders that actually they're working with suppliers who are environmentally friendly and conscious of the environment. So that is something we're noticing more and more. I think that trend will absolutely continue. So for us, that is absolutely a benefit we have seen. There's obviously the commercial benefit, which is direct. There's sort of the softer benefit that you've mentioned, Jonathan, which is exactly that. We are finding that we are able to respond positively now to those questions when asked, whereas previously we struggled. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Yeah, the reason why I asked is we do a lot of work in Coventry, of course, in the automotive supply chain, for example, and they've been having to do that kind of process for a good couple of years now. They have to demonstrate an annual carbon reduction to keep selling within their supply chain. So it's interesting to hear that it's coming in your area as well. That's perhaps not quite so manufacturing based. So just as I say, a soft benefit for our audience to bear in mind. It's not just about the cost savings, basically, moving forward. And then last question, Matthew, for yourself. I'm just interested to sort of wonder what's next. What else we can do? Is there anything else you've got on your sustainable pipeline, maybe?
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting one. It's not something that I don't ever feel like we're there now. I always want to look at what's next, and that is something that we're looking at. So one of the areas that we focused on, and we didn't move on it, was the warehouse heating that we have at the moment. So our older warehouse is currently using LPG effectively. It's a gas tank that's heating that area, and that for me is one that we couldn't quite, when we looked at it, Jonathan, make the numbers add up. So there was obviously a commercial driver there. That is something I would like to revisit as technology progresses, as potentially the cost of products reduces. That is something potentially I'd like to look at in the future if there is funding available, and if that becomes an option. The one or two other areas I sort of keep my eyes on are things like actually EVs for our vans. We have vans servicing clients up and down the country. I'm looking at EV vans quite a lot at the moment, just based on A, we've got the solar panels, but also B, the range of vans now is increasing, and of course it's starting to get slightly more acceptable. So we do put heavy items into them, pool tables, etc., air hockey tables. They're starting to come within scope, I would say, or they certainly will be soon, as to, do we turn our whole fleet green? That's a real option that's under consideration. Appreciate that won't be through the programme, but equally it's something that, again, you look at and think, yep, that could be a future option. I think they're the two main ones I would say at the moment that we're sort of interested in. We're just waiting for the right time and making sure the right payback's there. I know we looked at destratification funds and other areas as well. Again, that is something that if we don't go down an alternative fuel route, we could look at that as well.
Yeah, interesting. So you're very much on a journey, and you're looking long term, aren't you, by the sound of it, which is great to hear.
We are, and even things like battery storage. That's one that, again, we might consider in the future, subject to availability of grant funding or subject to paybacks if we were to do that ourselves.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much. I've had no further questions in the chat, so I'm going to start to draw the session. Oh, sorry, I can't see it.
Colin
Sorry.
asked, with government launching their 15 billion warmer home scheme for residential properties as part of the net zero policy, is there further funding in the pipeline for the commercial sector?
Very good question, Colin. Thank you for asking that. So we are currently all in negotiation with central government for more funding, which would obviously then allow us to, I wouldn't say extend the BEES programme, but perhaps roll out a new programme that will kind of replicate the same the same framework. Now, I've done this for a number of years now, and there normally is a replacement programme that sort of takes over. I haven't heard anything as of yet, but rest assured, we are in negotiations at high level to see what's available. As soon as we know anything, because obviously this BEES programme finishes in March, as soon as we know anything, we will of course market that very, 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 very aggressively, and we will be in touch. Anybody that's registered to our webinars and on any of our sessions, we're on our mailing list. We will let you know. But as of today, I don't know what that landscape looks like in terms of the future funding. But hopefully there'll be something in place to at least do something similar to BEES moving forward. We know the government is very keen on the whole net zero agenda, so I'd like to think there is something available. So on that point as well, what might work and what we've done when previous programs roll over, have the audit done now, and then if more funding is available for the next financial year, we can then roll into any funding that we can access on that program moving forward. So engage if you can, is my advice, and we will of course keep you updated. I couldn't see that question, Carrie. Was there any more questions in the chat, or is that the only one?
Just that one.
Okay. Well, thank you for your question, Colin. Hope that answered. Just moving forward, here is how you get in touch with us. So a lot of the information I've mentioned in the session earlier on in terms of eligibility and grant availability and so on, it's all on the Business Growth West Midlands website. Full details are on there, and there's also a registration link as well. So it gives you all the details you need to know, and you can click on a link to register your interest in the programme, and then either myself or one of the team will jump on it really quickly and get in touch with you to arrange your free energy audit. So I hope that's been of interest to you, and I hope to see some of you on site soon. Any questions though, please do get in touch. If not, thanks for listening, and thanks to Matthew for his session today, and I'll hopefully see you on site soon. Thank you.